You're good.
I would like to call this meeting to order. We have a confirmation of the agenda. What's that? Oh, yes, sorry. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land of which we gather is the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Waki, Ottawa, and Mississaugas peoples. Confirmation of the agenda, we have an amendment to make, and I'm going to get Carson to read it out.
Thank you, Your Worship. So looking for an amended motion that would read that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby accept the agenda for the March 7th, 2022 council meeting as amended to include an additional closed session agenda item pertaining to personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, regarding a personnel matter.
Do I have a mover? I need a moves. Do I have a seconder? I have Kevin Faulkner seconds. Hand it over to you, Carson.
You're good to call the vote.
Disclosure of pecuniary interest?
You got to call the vote.
Call
the vote.
You don't do that? You want me to do that?
Yeah. They don't have to be recorded votes anymore.
I'll call a vote. And I think that passed. Thank you very kindly for your patience. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we shall move on. Public comments. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak to an item of business on the agenda. 2 minutes per person. Not seeing anyone, we shall move on. Consent agenda. That the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby adopts the consent agenda 5.1.1 and 5.1.2. And further, the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby receives consent items 5.1.3 to 5.3.4 for information purposes. Before I call the motion, would anybody like to pull anything out to talk to? Not seeing anyone. Do I have a mover? I have Paul Heffer moving. Seconder, please. Rick McBurney seconds. Okay, thank you. All in favor? Public meetings, hearings, and delegations. Tonight, we have Lisa Harper from United Way, from the Huron, Lisa Harper, United Way Huron Perth, request for funding from North Huron Connection Center Pilot Project. And I know we also have Ryan Erb here with her.
Good evening, everyone. Your Worship, Council, staff. Always a pleasure to be with Council this evening. So Lisa and I are going to tag team the presentation, and I'm going to find it here. Desktop, I believe it is. Just give me a moment. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. All right. So just a brief introduction. I know most of you are familiar with the United Way to some degree, but just to let you know that our organization is your 100% local charity that is involved in what we call the unignorable social issues of our day. And we continue to work together with partners of many kinds to make sure that we are helping the most vulnerable in your community. See if I can get this to switch slides here. Should be the arrow key. Yes, imagine. There we go. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right. So just so you're aware, over the course of the last year, our organization has had a significant impact on people in the counties of Perth and Huron. So over 37,000 people have been helped, and in particular, we also helped a number of people related to pandemic matters, in part with funds that were received from the federal government, social services relief funds, and funds that were raised by the United Way locally. So a lot of people are receiving help, including hundreds in your location here too. The unignorable issues of our day include things like poverty, homelessness, mental health, domestic violence, hunger, and social isolation. When we speak to these issues, we are very concerned to let people know, what does this mean? Well, for example, here, 12 women and their families received emergency shelter after escaping violence. 95 seniors were connected by transportation services to reduce isolation. And we also know that one of the reasons behind our presentation tonight is the issue of homelessness. Most recently, the enumeration performed by Huron County staff and partners tells us that there's 169 people who are experiencing homelessness, chronic homelessness in this community. So Lisa's going to do the next slide.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryan. So the Northern Huron Community Committee is currently comprised of 11 local volunteers with a great cross-section of folks from North Huron, Howick, and Morris Turnberry. Kate Proctor, who many of you know is our chair, and she's done a fantastic job. And Reverend Joanne Todd has also stepped up, and she's done a fabulous job of helping out with the committee as well. So these 11 folks have been working very hard since August of last year, and have come up with the initiative of the Connection Center. And again, that's why we're here tonight, to talk to you about the Connection Center and to do the request for funding. These folks are fantastic, and it's been a real pleasure working with every one of them. So, coldest night of the year, which happened a week ago Saturday, I was blown away by the support from the local community. Our goal, for those of you who don't know, it is essentially a walk-a-thon where folks get pledges and raise money, and then they participate in either a 2-kilometer or a 5-kilometer walk. Our goal in the beginning was to have 15 teams. We ended up with 28. We were hoping for 100 walkers, and the actual final count for walkers was 117. And the biggest thing, our goal was to raise $35,500, and that number, I should have changed that before we came, because we're over $40,000 now that we've raised. Again, the support of the local community, the volunteers, Libro Credit Union and Maitland River Community Church deserve a really big shout out for letting us use their parking lots. It was a fantastic day. Mother Nature cooperated, and again, $40,000 is where we're sitting at, and the donations are open to the end of March, if anybody's interested, or if anybody would like to share that information. So a fantastic, fantastic initiative that we're hoping to do on a yearly basis. So local funds raised so far, again, that has changed again since we sent in the presentation. So we're currently sitting at $58,195. So that takes into account $40,000 from the coldest night, and then just under $20,000 raised by individual and corporate donations. So at this point, we do require an extra $15,000 for operating costs that we're hoping to achieve by March, the end of March of this year. The fiscal year for the United Way runs from April 1st to March 31st. So the Connection Center, again, is a pilot project that we're hoping to open up in September of this year. That's our anticipated opening. And so that $70,000 to $75,000 is going to be the cost of operating the center, again, from September of this year to March 31st of next year. Once we have the location confirmed, we are anticipating some renovation costs. And so we're planning to do a capital fundraising program campaign this spring and into the summer. And we know that the cost for a full year of running the center, so again, April 1st to March 31st, is going to be higher once we have a full year under our belts. Was there anything, Ryan, that you wanted to add to that screen?
I think you got it.
Okay, great, thank you. So the Connection Center, and some of you are familiar and have seen the information on the Connection Center. So the Connection Center is going to be a place-based intervention with professional service providers and well-trained volunteers working together to help facilitate the wellness journey of individuals experiencing significant challenges, which include those unignorable issues that Ryan had mentioned, such as poverty, homelessness, addictions, and mental health. The center, the key ways that the center is going to assist people is that it's going to help folks to meet their basic needs. So there's going to be washroom and shower facilities, access to clean water, and it could be used as a cooling or a warming station as well. It's going to help build social ties, and it's going to help build trust with service providers and volunteers, leading to opportunities for more formal supports. The big part of it for me is that it's going to connect folks to social services. So volunteers and staff are going to be able to help clients navigate entry into formal support for existing agencies. So example, if a person is living rough and they've lost their health card or their driver's license, we're hoping to have the services that can provide that for folks to come in, and we can help them get connected with those. It's also going to build pathways out of poverty that provide dignity, choice, and it's going to empower the clients. And again, we are planning to do a capital campaign this spring and summer for renovations to the site that we pick.
So we're here tonight in part to update you on the project, but also to make a formal request for support for the project. And so we are formally requesting that council consider giving $10,000 to this project for operating costs. And we see this as a pilot project that we need to evaluate to make sure that it is meeting the needs of the community. But we do hope, because of experience in other similar programs and projects, that it will continue on beyond the 1 year. And we would come and talk with you about the future of the project again down the road. So some of you will remember that the United Way, through our Social Research and Planning Council, helped to write the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, and I know others were involved around the table here in that project. Of course, the initiatives the identified challenges from that plan really line up, we think, with what this project is trying to accomplish. And so certainly housing was a challenge, and mental health was a challenge that was identified in the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, and we think that the Connection Center can meet the needs of those challenges in significant ways. So our hope is that we'll develop a partnership here with council with this particular project, and of course report back on its progress over time. And we're thankful for the good support that there has already been from this community. In fact, I would say that two of us would heartily say that the community has embraced the idea that has come forward and has really gotten behind the program with plenty of support. A couple of reminders as we wrap up. We always want to tell people about 211 because this is a program and a service that we offer not everybody is aware of. So if you aren't sure where to get help in your community, this is a number you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The United Way supports this North America-wide program, and we are pleased to say that that is something you can direct people to, perhaps even when the Connection Center isn't open, but the Connection Center will obviously be a local way of helping people navigate social services. With that, we're pleased to answer any questions that you may have around the project, the Connection Center, or related initiatives of the United Way. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa and Ryan. And I just want to say that this is a Northern Huron County project. This is not a North Huron County. And we had participation with our surrounding communities. South Bruce can use this. ACW, Morris Turnberry, Howick. This is not pertaining just simply to a small population. This is open to anybody and everybody that needs help. And I think we all realize sitting at this table that it's been a stressful few years for everyone. So this is great timing to bring something that's online. Having said that, I will open it up to the floor. Questions, comments, or concerns? Chris, go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve, and through you. You kind of elaborated to some of my answer, but I was wondering where this will be exactly.
Thank you for the question. We have two potential sites here in Wingham that we are investigating with, and we have another date with a contractor to review those locations in the near future, but we anticipate it will be in Wingham. The location will be solidified in the next number of weeks.
Like you're not going to build something, so you're going to renovate something.
Correct.
Rent and renovate.
That's correct, yeah.
I guess, okay.
Anyone else? Trevor, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Reeve. Ryan, Lisa, thank you very much for your information, your work in the community. If council would be aware that the community and safety and well-being plan that was proposed by Huron County and by the Research and Development Council came to this, obviously, we're at the municipality, as well as many municipalities relating to the community well-being plan, are kind of at a standstill. They're waiting for clarity from our provincial government as to how this is supposed to be rolled out, how it's supposed to be benchmarked, how are things supposed to be done. Many of our community members from that community safety and well-being plan action group some are going on their own. South Huron is moving forward on certain projects. Other communities are moving on certain projects. One of the things that I do want to comment to is this, if you were to look at the community safety and well-being plan that North Huron put towards this council, this action center or connection center would check the box of all items that were on that list. Every one of them. That would suggest, that would be supportive, helpful, beneficial to every issue that this municipality and surrounding municipalities are having to deal with. And let's be clear, it's not only because of COVID. These issues were here long before COVID came. COVID has just enhanced it even more than what we already are seeing. So, my thinking is that, not every day do you have a community group and a community that has embraced something as unignorable as these types of issues. And I think from my perspective, I'm in complete support of providing some funding to this community, this group. The question really ultimately becomes is whether it's the full amount based on, we don't know what other community groups, as well as we don't know from the community safety and well-being plan, is if that whole Hundesome group wants to have a joint venture something. So, my thinking is, or at least my concern is that if we put it all to one thing, which I'm not saying wouldn't be a bad thing, what I'm saying is then we would have to recognize that we would not have any ability to go on supporting some other initiative that would be collaborative from a perspective of all the group. But what I'm saying is this group is checking every box that we've put on that community safety and well-being plan, and that a lot of these things are not just in North Huron. Many of these are the same priorities all through Huron County. It's just what priority they're putting to certain ones before others. So, I completely in support of something. I'm not gonna make a motion at this point. I want to hear some other thoughts from council before I would put in a motion if nobody else is wishing to do so.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick one before I go to Anita. Ryan, is there a time slot you would like to know for this money? Because as Trevor's pointed out, as Deputy Reeve Sipes pointed out, we have a lot on the go, so we don't want to rush something and let you down a little bit. At the same time, we don't want to let somebody else down. Do you have any timeline besides tonight?
It's our preference to understand what council's decision would be by the end of March, if it's possible.
Okay, thank you. Anita, go ahead. Thank
Yes, thank you, Reeve Bailey. Yeah, I have to agree with Trevor. It's a very good cause, but money is always a problem in North Huron, and there's many fundraising activities going on over the summer here in town. Everybody has to choose their own. Can you tell me what are you requesting the same amount of money for all the municipalities, or?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Through the mayor, or through the Reeve, sorry, we have a requests that were sent to your adjoining municipalities in North Huron, to Howick Township and also Norris Turnberry, and unfortunately, I can tell you that they have denied those requests. So.
Thank you. It's always really worrisome when all or a lot of money comes on the shoulders of North Huron residents. So, yeah, I have to think about that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Falconer.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. I agree wholeheartedly with Councillor Sipes' description about checking all the boxes and this being in our, helping our plan along. I just want to play devil's advocate for a moment, and this municipality is notorious for going out on a limb and doing the right thing. And I applaud all past councils for that. But it's also been a thorn in the side of many councils as to, as soon as you do it, our neighbors then have their responsibilities flocked to North Huron. And it just becomes our problem. So I see, if it was a joint with all the municipalities going together, is one thing, but when it's fragmented, when South Huron's doing their own thing and someone else is doing their own thing, I just fear that there would be migration of going to the places that have the support and using those supports and putting that burden on the taxpayers of only one center when the participants are coming from outside that refuse to help in this situation. So I just wanted to make that as a comment, as a devil's advocate.
Well heard. Other councillors? Right, Chris? And then Paul?
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. Yeah, I'm agreeing with other councillors here. It's worthy, it's a worthy effort, but I don't want us to carry the load. So I'm hoping that we can give some monies and agree upon some figure.
Paul?
Through you, Reeve. Yeah, you rattled the numbers off pretty quick on me, Ms. Harper. You said 20,000 came in just recently from, let's say, businesses? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, a combination of individual and corporate donations. So some of the larger businesses in the area donated, and then I'm going to say that 20,000 is probably 60-40, 60 corporate, 40 individual. And that was that just under 20,000 for that.
And how much time?
That is from April 1st of last year to current day.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other councillors? I'd like to say that, follow up to Councillor Faulkner's comments, that yes, North Huron is well known for our generosity. We're always the first ones out front. We are the populated area, I guess, of Huron County as far as the north goes. We are always there, front and center, and our hearts are warm because of it. We would feel, I'm sure I can speak for a few of the council, I will speak for myself only. It would be nice if some of the other communities would jump in. Having said that, I'm not running their finances. It's up to them, and I'm very disheartened to hear that two of my comrades could not help you out. I fully believe we should support this to the maximum. There will be a reason we do this, and that is because we are North Huron, and we help. We're always there, to the point where it's expected of us. And when our ratepayers say our taxes are a little higher than elsewhere, we can proudly say we didn't throw it away. It went to a good cause. And we don't need to know the people that it went to because it's a good cause. Okay, so having said that, I'm going to throw it back out to council for anything further. I'll go ahead, Deputy Reeve. Sorry.
Yes, Reeve, based on what I'm going to put a motion on the floor, and I'm going to put a caveat to the end of it, just so, because this is a kind of a pilot project. So I think, in the sense that you have other northern Huron municipalities who have declined at this point, that doesn't necessarily mean if this is successful that they will always decline. So my suggestion is that North Huron provide the United Way with $7,500 of the $10,000 requested. That would give us $2,500 left in our budget under the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan for any other initiatives that may come up between now and December of this year, with the hope that council or the new council, when the pilot project has come back by United Way to further review how the pilot project went, that we become part of the solution in going to these other having meetings with those councils or those staff to understand the complexity of what it is that they're concerned about or not concerned about, or what it is that we can do as a collective unit to ensure that these things are available to not only us, because, I mean, they are going to be available not only to North Huron residents, they're going to be available to Northern Huron people. It doesn't necessarily mean who they are. At the end of the day, I would love to have the service available to whoever needs it. That's the intent. So, I mean, arguably, I think as council, North Huron is honestly taking the lead. We usually tend to do that, and yes, we are the urban center. But we also need to be as part of it, as we as council need also to be part of the conversation with other councils to start that building, that bridge, to somehow figure out how we can be this community group as a group, and not necessarily us as going on one again and then asking their question how it can ask from Morris Turnberry. We should be ultimately know what this is going to be for our community as a Northern Huron initiative, not just a North Huron initiative, because let's be clear, this is not a North Huron initiative. This is a United Way initiative with partnering from North Huron and the Northern Huron community. That's what this is. So that's my that's my motion. I know it's a long, drawn-out motion, but I'm going to shorten it for the clerk. I'm going to shorten it for the clerk.
I got something slightly drafted here. That the council of the Township of North Huron hereby provides $7,500 in support of the Northern Huron Connection Center pilot project to be funded through the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan Initiatives budget line, and further that the incoming council be encouraged to discuss with neighboring municipalities ways to be a part of the project in future years.
Absolutely.
I have a mover. I have a seconder with Mr. McBurney. Last chance for comments. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Chris.
thank you, Reeve, and through you. Just a question. How will some folks who do not have a cell phone, do not live in Wingham, make use of your project?
Thank you for the question. Through the Reeve, two things are going to happen that happen in all of the other circumstances where we offer similar programs. First of all, we will make it possible for people to get there if they don't have transportation. So there will be some budget available for a taxi, if somebody's in a circumstance where they need it. Second of all, we have learned that the population that we are trying to support with this connection center passes things along quite quickly. It's amazing. We find, despite sometimes a lack of modern communication technology, that people find out about services like this very, very quickly, and do tend to take advantage of them. So word of mouth is quite effective. We've had similar centers open in Stratford and Exeter for some time, and in all cases, pretty well everyone who is known by the community and social workers in the community do find the services and access them quite readily.
I have a mover. I have a seconder. All in favor? Carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ryan and Lisa. We appreciate everything you folks do. We truly do.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time and attention tonight, everyone, and we will, of course, come back and report on the project in due course.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, thank you very much, everyone.
I'll shut off that projector.
Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to go to reports now, 7.1.1, and it's a 2022-01 Woodfield Municipal Drain Relocation Project 2022 update. You've had time to look it over. Is there any questions for the staff?
Reeve, one just comment. I did not recognize the motion before, so I am at this particular point, because I do know it's based on a client. I am going to be declaring a pecuniary interest
Yep.
or conflict of interest due to the agreement going to by word of my employment. So I won't be communicating or talking to this motion at all, okay?
Thank you very kindly for that.
And I will be preparing the necessary documents to the clerk.
Yep, thank you very kindly. Okay, so again, the Whitfield Municipal Drain, any questions or comments? Got a chance to read through it? Not seeing any. Do I have a mover? I have Paul moving, I have Chris seconding. All in favor? Carries. Finance Department, Recreation Community Services Department, 7.3.1. This is the 2022-03 North Huron West Cass Community Center roof tender outcome. Would anybody have any questions or concerns with this one? Questions they would like to ask? Go ahead, Trevor.
Yes, thank you, Reeve. Understanding that this has been a complicated, if not the most complicated thing I've probably seen in my time as council, as this roof at the North Huron West Cass Community Complex. My question, it relates to, we've had some success with this supplier. Does this supplier provide a warranty as to what they're putting down on these? Just remind me, is there a warranty clause or something to that? If we're believing that once this is paid, do we have some type of ramification if there's an issue or concern?
Through your worship, there is a 30-year warranty on the labor and material.
Sorry, did you say 30 years?
Yes, I did.
Thank you very much. I will take it.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I believe I have a mover and seconder.
You do not.
I do not? I do or do not?
I will move it. I will move it, Reeve.
I have Trevor moving, I have Paul seconding. A last chance for comments or concerns. Not seeing it, that 30 years threw me right off. I call the motion, all in favor. Carries. Okay, moving down to Public Works and Facilities, 7.4.1 is the compact wheel loader RFP outcome. Is there any questions or comments for Director McCarthy? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve, through you. Jamie, what horsepower is this tractor? That's how I understand these things.
Through Reeve Bailey to Councillor Palmer, that escapes me right now. I want to say 120, but I can confirm that with, confirm that and get back to you. It's probably higher than that.
With a cab, I can't see it, but with a cab as well, I assume, eh?
Oh, yes,
For that
yes.
much money? All right.
Go ahead, Councillor Faulkner.
Through you, Reeve. The old compactor, it's probably worth a fair bit for scrap. Did we get anything for it? Or did it go to auction, or what happened to it? Because we just put a new engine in it there a year and a half ago, but
Jamie?
Through Reeve Bailey to Councillor Faulkner, if you could clarify, I'm not sure what occurred with the previous compactor, but the loader, the New Holland loader that's currently out at the landfill, that's the one that we were hoping to sell.
Oh, this is not a compactor. We think of a,
No.
I thought it was the big wheeled steel compactor.
tractor.
Sorry. And then I'm totally out of the loop as to what piece of machinery that was.
Reeve,
Yes.
just a point, clarification, this shouldn't be referred to as a compactor. It's a tractor, a loader tractor. That's it.
it's, okay, so we're
Jamie
gonna move
wants to
on.
say.
Jamie, go ahead.
Through Reeve Bailey, my apologies, it's tighter than what a different type of loader is, so that's why it's called a compact wheel loader.
Just compact in size.
Yes.
Well, 120 horsepower is not compact.
No.
It's a good
No, it's a
size.
fairly large machine. It's very similar to the one that we have now that runs and does all the winter maintenance and all that kind of stuff in the township.
I appreciate the line of questioning, but I'm pretty sure Jamie is aware of what she needs for her facility.
We need to understand.
I understand that. Okay, I do understand.
Words are everything.
Thank you very kindly. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone? Would somebody like to move that? I have Rick moving it, I have Chris seconding it. Paul, did you have a question?
No, sorry.
Okay, all in favor? Carries, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to the Office of the CAO, 8.1. Correspondence. This is for the appointment of the BIA members. Deputy Syke, did you want to speak to this at all, or?
No,
It's pretty
it's
straightforward?
pretty straightforward, Reeve. It's just to clarify for people this is for board members up until election. Like, I mean, the board ceases after election until the new election, or to the new board, or to the new council elects those board members, ratifies that committee again. So, I mean, this is just from the annual general meeting.
Okay, thank you very kindly.
And I'll move it, Reeve.
I have Deputy Syke moving, I have Paul Heffer seconding. All in favor? Carries. Thank you. 8.2 is Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. Anita, did you want to say anything to that?
Yeah, I can say something about this. This started in 2019 with the new legislation for the Conservation Act. And this request is for a letter to the chair of the MVCA asking going forward to support Maitland Valley Conservation Authority with their services and programs. And that municipality has the interest in principle in an agreement or a memorandum of understanding between the Maitland Valley and the North Huron for their services.
Okay.
So it has no financial impact. It's just a
They just would like a letter?
administrative issue, actually.
Did you want to make that a motion for them then?
Yeah,
I have something drafted if, and so the other piece they're looking to is to make sure that council's supportive of their proposed inventory of programs and services that they've outlined in that correspondence. And then as Councillor Van Hitterson mentioned, whether North Huron would be supportive in principle of a drafting of a memorandum of understanding covering all services, so not just the mandatory services. So basically your draft motion would be that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby supports the proposed inventory of programs and services outlined by MVCA in the correspondence letter dated February 25th, 2022, and further that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby supports, in principle, the drafting of a memorandum of understanding covering all services for Council's review and consideration at a future meeting.
Anita moves. Do I have a seconder? I have Paul seconding. Last chance for comments, concerns. Not seeing any. I call the motion. All in favor? And it carries. Thank you. 8.3 is the Wingham Ironman, request for delay of removal of the ice of North Huron West Cass Community Complex. Would anybody like to speak to this one? Go ahead, Chris.
Like, what are we thinking here? How are we're not dealing with the request, though. Like, we need to talk about it, like, I've got I'm not clear as to where we are as a group
Council?
thinking.
As a council?
Yeah,
Yeah. I will start the conversation. My concern is the cost of doing this for a small group. Yeah, go ahead.
I understand that, and it's a concern to me as well, but they're our local team. And we need to support the fans, we need to support the sponsors, which are all local businesses. One could say, well, they think they can only go so far, and I'm wondering if we shouldn't make it available that we will follow how they're proceeding in their ranking and how they're doing. I'd hate to, like, what do we do? If we shut them off at the end of the month and they keep winning, and, you know, and everything else is, like I said, the fans and the sponsors, then where do they go? They're going to go outside of our area, and it doesn't look good. It's a hard one. I understand. It's a hard one. I'd like to know what Vicky's thinking, if you wouldn't mind.
No problem at all. Vicky? And then I'll go over to Deputy Reeve Site.
Sure, thank you, Your Worship. This is actually a council policy, so staff, unless council makes a decision otherwise, staff will follow council's policy, and the policy is that the ice will come out on March 31st. In terms of costs, if we were to keep it until the end of April, we're looking at an additional $20,000. It's roughly between $4,000 and $5,000 a week. In terms of their usage, they basically use 4 hours a week. That's their practice time, including their game time. We did reach out to other groups and ask if anyone, and not just Wingham groups, but down in Blythe as well, to ask if anyone would be interested in booking additional ice time. And we made it known that the Ironmen were looking for an extended season and it would be supporting them. But unfortunately, no one's come forward needing additional ice time.
Thank you very much, Vicky. Trevor, do you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So previous councils have done this. Vicky, can you explain, or what have been the requests before? Like, we have allowed it with the assumption that they take a certain amount of ice. What was that? Can you recall what the amount of ice that they were required to take in order to do that? It wasn't just the 4 hours a week.
No, we were very upfront with the Ironmen, and we told them that it would need to be 35 hours a week. We would have to have 35 hours a week in order to support this in any way. And that's why, in working with them, we reached out to the other groups to see if there would be any takers that would be able to do that.
And I'm going to suggest, from what I just heard, that the Ironmen are not willing to take the 35 hours a week. No. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Questions, concerns, comments? So unfortunately, it is a very expensive ordeal. So I'm going to go to Kevin Faulkner first, and then to Trevor Sight.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. Do we have any of our minor hockey teams that are in playoffs still? We in that time that would require extra ice?
Vicki?
Through your worship, the provincial associations have said it's basically done at the end of the March.
Yeah, and my other comment was just that this council in the previous year has denied opening early for people that wanted the ice as well, so it's not.
Deputy Reeve Sight?
Thank you, Reeve. I am going to put a motion on the floor to somehow bridge the gap. So I'm going to put a motion on the floor that we request that we allow the extension of delaying the removal of ice with the exception that the Wingham Ironmen are accepting of taking 15 hours of ice a week. So if they take 15 hours ice a week, we will delay the removal of the ice.
Thank you.
That doesn't necessarily, and I want to make sure I'm very clear in this. That does not necessarily mean that if they don't want to use the ice, That doesn't necessarily mean they don't want to use it, that's fine. They can offer that up to somebody else to sub it. I don't personally care who uses it, but somebody's paying for 15 hours of ice if they want the ice out or left in for that amount of time. That will mean is the ice will remain until if they go all the way to the final, they will go all the way to the final and it'll be open. That is my suggestion.
You good with that, Carson?
So Deputy Reeve Sipes' motion would read that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the request to delay the removal of the ice at the North Huron West Cast Community Complex, subject to the Wingham Ironman agreeing to pay for 15 hours of ice per week.
Do we have a seconder? We have Chris Palmer seconding. Any last chance for comments? Paul?
Yes, through you, Reeve, and this to Vicky, just wondering, is that 15 hours, would that help offset a lot of the costs? Vicky?
Through your worship, it's a fraction of the cost.
Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? Go ahead, Anita.
Do they have another venue where they can go to if they are not allowed to, or if we take the ice out, where are they going?
So through you, your worship, there are some facilities around that are extending by a week or so, are keeping it in for the first week in April and things. Some of those facilities are Howick. Howick is actually going to extend their ice until April 30th this year. That's one of the longest ones. Harrison, April 9th. Here in Kinloss, April 10th. Seaforth, April 10th. And North Perth will have icing at the Kerr Arena till the end of April.
Go ahead, Anita.
Do you think that after the April 10th, that's just first week of April, that there is a chance that those communities will come towards Wingham if we keep it open?
Through you, worship,
It's
I
for
don't
sure.
believe so.
No,
No.
okay.
No.
Kevin?
Through you, Reeve. Would there be any cost savings in the difference between keeping the ice in the Wingham Arena versus keeping ice in the Blythe Arena?
Vicki?
Through your worship, there would be some cost savings. It is a smaller ice surface, and I know that the Ironmen will not go down there to play. They've indicated that to us before when we were talking about the during the COVID measures and things as an option to keep our costs down and opening only one arena. They've indicated they won't play on that ice surface because it is a smaller ice surface.
Difficult times. Okay, anyone else? Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, just a point, Reeve. I'm wondering if Deputy Reeve Sipe would agree. The one final is at the end of April 3rd, so I'm wondering if we could leave ours open till then, as normal, call that normal, and then continue on with what has been suggested. Is that a possibility? It just makes things flow better here in their chart.
So my motion is to allow the extension. The ice is going to stay till March 30th first anyways. That's the policy. So they have to pay for what they're using up to March the 30th. What I'm saying is after March the 30th, they're required to pay for 15 hours of ice in order to dedicate that we are going to extend the ice surface availability. If they come back and say we're not going to take 15 hours of ice, my motion is that the ice comes out. That's what my motion's telling you.
But you can see where I'm going, right? That the one semifinal ends April 3rd. So if we keep it open, but they say no because they don't want to do the 15 hours, and they're in the first quarterfinals there, they can't even finish the quarterfinals. So then they'd be scrambling to find someplace else, Howick or whatever, I'm just trying to smooth it out,
So
that's
just to
all.
clarify that, Vicky, are those semifinals obviously not being held in Wingham?
I don't, through your worship, I don't have that schedule.
But if we don't have the ice in it,
So it would rotate between the two teams competing in the series.
Yes,
Right, so they play home and away games.
yes.
So the chart that Counselor Palmer's referring to has the division quarterfinals from March 7th to March 20th, the division semifinals from March 21st to the April 3rd date that Counselor Palmer's referencing, and then the division finals are from April 4th to April 24th, and then the division championships from April 25th to May 9th.
Yeah, but- So Reeve, so the request is coming today. So, this is, whatever we decide, whatever this motion, if it carries or it does not, will be sent to the Wingham Ironman effectively tomorrow. The Wingham Ironman need to decide. Like, they can't sit on their laurels and just say they're not gonna decide, because they're gonna have to make a schedule for their playoffs. So, all I'm suggesting is, if they wanna play in their ice, then they've got an option. What I'm providing council with an option. I can tell you right now, based on what I've heard, there's been not a lot of movement for an option, other than what I've suggested. So, I mean, they're going to have to decide if they're going to want to keep the ice in and support the 15 hours, or they won't. And they will have to then decide which other facility they're gonna use.
so Counselor Palmer, if I understand this right, you're concerned that it's gonna be shut off in the middle of their
Yes.
playoffs? Yeah, but I think what Trevor's saying, what Deputy Reeve Sype is saying is, if they know that's coming, they know to keep booking it. They're gonna keep paying it to go past that, right?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, if they decide that they want to go on, right, if they say, yep, we're gonna have 15 hours of ice, then they don't have to worry about April 3rd, because it's gonna be extended.
It'll be covered.
If they don't,
Yeah.
if they say, I'm not going to, then they already know that they've got to schedule that last playoff, probably not in Wingham, because the ice is coming out.
Yeah, so yes, that would be covered then, because they would have to ask for that. And Vicky, in case I did something wrong there, are we okay?
Through you, your worship, we're okay. I just want clarification on Deputy Reeve Sype's recommendation, that is it 15 hours total, or is it 15 hours a week?
The motion right
The
now.
motion says 15 hours a week.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Not seeing, if you don't mind reading that back.
So the motion on the floor is that the Council of the Township of North Huron hereby approves the request to delay the removal of the ice at the North Huron West Cast Community Complex, subject to the Wingham Ironman agreeing to pay for 15 hours of ice per week. Your mover is Deputy Reeve Sype, and your seconder is Councillor Palmer.
Thank you very kindly. All in favor? And that move carries. Thank you very kindly. Okay, council reports, Reeves activity report. As we talked about earlier, we did the walk for the people that are in need of support, and I won't continue on that. We had a good conversation about that earlier. We have 1,000 things on the go, but they all escape my mind right now, and maybe that's a good thing. So I'm going to pass it over now to council member reports. These are verbal or written updates for members who sit on boards or committees. Is there anyone? Go ahead, Trevor.
Yes, thank you, Eve. I just wanted to bring to council's attention that, so we have had the annual general meeting for the Wingham BIA. That budget was passed, and it will be sent to the treasurer for preparation in obviously the current year budget. I also want to bring comments with regards to keeping council aware of the Wingham Community Connectors Group. So the Wingham Community Connectors Group has been still working diligently in trying to get a welcome package together that they're going to try to utilize for in the real estate market for people who are coming or wanting to be newcomers to North Huron. So they're working towards that, as well as some other initiatives as it relates to economic development with the economic development team, as well as the Blythe BIA in supporting of some tourism and some other initiatives that they're looking at. So, I mean, the group is a small group. However, they are, and I honestly have to say, it's a Wingham Community Connectors group, but the person who leads it lives in Morris Turnberry. So, I mean, they don't necessarily care. At the end of the day, this community group does not care where you live. They care about making sure we have something in the community that is beneficial to people that have support of not only the services that North Huron has and what Morris Turnberry and Howick have or in the broader community, but what can we do to make it a better place and a better community to live in? That's really their goal and their idea. So once this community welcome package has been done, they're just doing kind of a sample size of 25 to get out to the local real estate to kind of see what the thought is, or it's kind of a pilot thing, and then once it's kind of done, they're going to reevaluate it and see if there's other things that they want to incorporate in. So I want to thank them for all their diligent work in trying to keep this going through COVID the last couple of years. They are also working towards getting a volunteer fair together. That is their next initiative that they've got on their docket, that they're planning on trying to get a volunteer fair. Somewhat similar, they got some information from South Huron. South Huron did one in conjunction with their United Way kickoff a year ago or a year and a half ago. So they're working diligently to try to better our community in any way they can, and I appreciate their information for that.
Trevor, just on everything you've said, I'm wondering if it would be possible to invite them to one of our Economic Development Committee meetings. Sounds like they're running pretty well along the same pattern we are, and I would be interested in, and I'm sure the Economic Development team would be interested in hearing from them and seeing if there's some collaboration there.
Yeah, so I mean, Dave Tiffin, who is the chair of the WAMBIA, he sits on the committee. So I mean, I will take that back to the committee. We have a committee meeting tomorrow night. I will take that back to the committee to see if there's some allegiance that they would like to, bring some thoughts to the economic development team and that so they can understand what's going on from their perspective.
That's great, thank you. Okay, any other, go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, through you, Reeve. The Blythe BIA general meeting, annual general meeting was postponed from the end of last February. Some of the pre-advance notices weren't put out in the paper. The meeting has been moved to this Thursday, August the 10th. It has been advertised in the paper to let the public know, and the email has gone out to all the members of the BIA. So it's not in the future minutes or future meetings in here, so just like I say, it's going to be on the...
So you didn't mean August, did you? You meant March.
Did I say August?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You meant March?
March 10th.
March. I'm just wanting summer so badly.
You're hanging around with me too long.
Yes, this Thursday, March the 10th at 8 a.m. at the Blythe Hall.
Okay. Anyone else?
Comments? Oh, where are you? Sorry.
We're still on comments by members that sit on boards and that?
Right.
Okay, so you want to move on to the next one? We're good? Okay, guys, we're just going to move on to comments by members. Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Sorry to rush you, Reeve.
Oh, it's all good.
I understand that there's a couple of flags flying down the road, and they're like, I don't know if we can do anything about it. Whether you agree with what the statement is or not, it's still not the place. It's so public. If you're going to say something like that, keep it in your store or in your home. But, what about a little kid walking with mom and looks up, oh, what's that say, Mom? Not good. Not tasteful.
I have to agree with you. I signed a letter of complaint, sent it into the staff, and the staff is looking into it on different levels.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've had several complaints too from people in our community. Anyone else? Trevor?
Yes, thank you, Eve. I just want to bring to council's attention that the WAA and the Ontario Minor Hockey Association lost over the past couple of weeks truly a valuable member of their team and somebody who provided a laundry list of information and support to this community through the WAA. His name is Dave Geringer. Dave Geringer passed away a few weeks ago, if not, it was maybe a week ago. Dave Geringer was a resident of nearby Meaford or Owen Sound, and he drove to Wingham every month to provide, as a board member to the WA, that provided service to not only our community groups, but a number of other community groups as it relates to sports in this community. And I mean, you never seem to think or thank those individuals when they're here with us. It always tends to be a reminder of how short life can be. I had the luxury, and I say the luxury because it is a luxury to actually spend time with Dave Geringer, to spend time with him over 2 to 5 years when I was on the WA board. Dave Geringer gave his heart and soul to the sports in this community, and not only in southwestern Ontario, but in Ontario minor hockey is better because of people like Dave Geringer. And I just want to send out my condolences, personally to the Geringer family, as well as the WA family that actually resides in our community. Dave Geringer is going to be truly missed by not only WA, but the OMHA and our overall community. So I just wanted to make sure and make attention to council that passing is a significant loss to this community.
Thank you very kindly. Go ahead, Chris.
Thank you, Rave. This could be a good opportunity for us to all thank Donna White for coming back to help out.
Hi, Donna.
When the time
She out
comes.
there? Oh, I was going to say, is she out there? I haven't seen her.
No, but it's going to be taped. I'm just trying to make a point,
Yes, it
that's all.
is. Yes, we're very grateful for her
Yeah.
to step in while we look for another director of finance. Unfortunately, we're losing our director quite quickly after we hired him, but he is moving on to greener pastures and something that suits his personal life better. It is a long drive from here to Meaford. I believe it's Meaford he lives in. So we do understand why he's wanted to make the move to another location, but no, we do appreciate Donna coming back, and we appreciate everything that Mr. Chapman has done for us. Thank you. Anyone else? Not seeing anyone? Okay. Is there notices of motion tonight? Not seeing anyone. Bylaws. Bylaw 10.1. Bylaw number 08-2022 Whitfield Drain, Municipal Drain Relocation Project 2022, third and final reading. Do I have a mover? I have Paul Heffer moving. I have Anita Van Hittersum seconding. All in favor? Carries. 10.2 is bylaw number 26, 2022, Articles of Agreement with the Whitfield Drain Relocation Project of 2022. Do I have a mover? I have Rick McBurney moving. I have Kevin Faulkner seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 27, 2022, Restricted Act of Council, Lame Duck Delegation of Authorization Bylaw. I have Paul Heffer moving. Seconder, please. Rick McBurney seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 28, 2022, Use of the Corporate Resources During Election Policy. Do I have a mover? I have Chris moving and Anita seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 29, 2022, appointment of a chief building official. Do I have a mover? I have Anita moving, I have Rick seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 30, 2022, appointment of a building inspector. Do I have a mover? I have Trevor moving, I have Kevin seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 31, 2022, appointment of a bylaw enforcement property standards officer. Do I have a mover? I have Paul moving, I have Trevor seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 32, 2022, internal debenture bylaw. Blythe Fire Hall, Public Works Facilities, and the Salt Sand Shed. Do I have a mover? Second time from, I have a mover, Trevor Sipes, and Anita Henderson is seconding.
Question?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Reeve. Just a quick yes, no. To understand these debentures, internal debentures, so basically, we're borrowing from ourselves? Or is it explained better?
Is Mr. Chapman in? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. We already actually are borrowing from ourselves. We've been doing it for a number of years. We're just borrowing from the reserve funds. This actually just formalizes it, and that's based on the reserve and reserve fund policy and the debt management policy that council's passed within the last couple of months.
Okay. Everybody okay? Okay, I believe I have a mover and seconder. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 33-2022, debenture bylaw landfill compactor. Do I have a mover? I have Paul moving and I have Trevor seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 34, 2022, internal debenture bylaw, the LED streetlights. Do I have a mover? I have Rick Burney moving, Christopher Palmer seconding. All in favor? Carries. Bylaw number 35, 2022, internal debenture bylaw, the plow truck. Do I have a mover? Paul Heffer's moving, Trevor is seconding. All in favor? Carries. That was it for them, Carson?
Pardon?
That was it for them? Yep.
You're at announcements now.
Yeah, thank you. Announcements. The next regular council meeting will be held on Monday, March 21st, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the North Huron Town Hall Theater. The next North Huron Police Services Board meeting will be held on Thursday, March 15th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the North Huron Town Hall Theater. The next Economic Development and Recovery Committee meeting will be held on Thursday, March 17th, 2022 at 2 p.m. at the North Huron Town Hall Theater. The next Wingham BIA Board meeting will be held on Thursday, March 17, 2022 at 6:30 at the Hot Stove Lounge in North Huron West Cass Community Complex. The next Blythe BIA meeting will be held on Thursday, March 31st at 2022 at 8 a.m. at the Blythe District Community Center. The Blythe BIA Annual General Meeting will be held on Thursday, March 10th, 2022 at 8 a.m. at the Blythe District Community Center. And other business. Do we have other business? Not seeing any. Closed session and reporting out. And we have a different, so I'm going to get Carson to read this one. It's been changed.
Thank you, Your Worship. So based on the previous motion passed by council for the confirmation of the agenda, so basically I'm looking for a motion now that the council of the Township of North Huron hereby proceeds at 7:08 p.m. to an in-camera session close to the public to discuss the following: personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a personnel matter, labor relations or employee negotiations, so the Human Resources Manual policy review, and a position plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board for the cross-border servicing agreement negotiations, and further that CAO Evans for items 1, 2, and 3, Clerk Lamb for items 1, 2, and 3, and Director McCarthy for item 1 remain in attendance.
Thank you very kindly. Do I have a mover? I have Anita moving. I have Rick seconding. All in favor? Carries. We'll take a 5-minute recess while the
Sorry, Reed, did you